Thanks to mysticism, religion has surpassed science. Let's face it, more than half of the world believes in an imaginary, spiritual God that they have not seen. When we look at the world, we see that all living and non-living things on earth consist of objects matter. It is foolishness to believe in spirituality in a world where everything is made up of matter. You may say, if there is no spirit God, Allah, who created these? Nothing in the universe occurs spontaneously. No atom reacts for no reason and says, I will become a stone, I will become water, I will become grass, or I don't know, I will become a human being. There has to be a second effect. For example, sperm and egg are nothing on their own. They exist, but they are nothing on their own. They are nothing but static piles of atoms in infinite space. But when they come together, they form something new. Even for sand to form, some climatic and environmental changes must occur. In the microscopic realm, everything may be composed of the same atoms, but the real question is what or who makes this possible. It is certain that there is no spiritual, imaginary God. Because these are physics subjects, not metaphysics, and physics is a branch of science that can be experienced. Just as nothing can come into being on its own, it is also not possible for it to come into being by an imaginary hand. Even if it has been formed, there are 3,000 gods in the history of the world. It is not known who created this complex order. While evolutionists say that all this diversity came about thanks to the Cambrian explosion, metaphysical groups are more sympathetic to the Big Bang theory. If you ask me, it's neither. As I said at the beginning, for something to form, it has to interact with something else. Nothing can come into being from nothing, on its own, and the statement, God existed when there was nothing, is also false. If we accept God as a being, we must also accept the fact that he was created. Being created and being born are different concepts. In the Quran, it is said about Allah that he was not born, was not given birth, but there are no verses about whether he was created or not. Even a single type of atom in nothingness, infinity, will remain stationary forever unless there is an interaction. What could have broken this stasis and caused all this existence to come into being? Electricity. In order for us to say that the universe was created by the Big Bang, there must have been something that affected it, and this is where mystics bring a spiritual God into play. If you ask me, there is infinite electrical energy in the world and somehow an effect occurred that would cause it to react and form these complex structures by causing the atoms in a stationary state to react. Those who discovered, developed and used this energy correctly were accepted as gods. Such as Thor, Zeus, Odin, Keke, etc. We do not have clear information about the first creation and creation. Science and religion try to explain this with theories, but I have explained in my other videos that both have inconsistent aspects. At the moment, no one knows where the atom and that hidden energy first came from or how it was formed. I just watched a video about homunculus. One of the comments said, if you expose a living thing to electric current while it is forming, the living thing may take on a different form. When I read this comment, I thought of the movies, Fly and Street Fighter. In both, a person would enter the capsule and be constantly exposed to electricity. As a result, one of them produced a fly-human hybrid creature, while the other produced an electric man, Blanca. These are, of course, movies. Their reality is debatable, but we cannot ignore them because there is a small amount of electric current in our bodies. Just as a car uses liquid gasoline to activate the vehicle's electricity and keep it running, the liquid that provides this in us living beings may be blood. It turns into blood, i.e. fuel, which I think is formed by the reaction of the water we drink or the gases we breathe and the electrical energy within us that we cannot see, and this blood keeps us working with a weak current. Even if we think in a primitive sense, water is an indispensable source for all living things. Well, if this is the case, can we keep a person alive working all the time with a similar device like a battery? This is possible, and I explained how this can happen in my previous videos. When Nikola Tesla said, if I could convert the hatred in people into electrical energy, I would light up the world, He may have meant to convey that the electricity we carry is weak, but that when we are exposed to an effect that will strengthen it, maybe everything will be different. In fact, people who have been struck by lightning have said that their lives have changed, saying that they felt as if they had passed into another dimension. Since I do not have a laboratory, I do not currently know whether electrical energy affects the creation and development of living things. I don't really believe those who speak clearly in terms of whether it does or doesn't. As you know, there is a mystical, imaginary trouble network at the head of the world, but it seems to affect it. Because I can observe that we carry an electricity, and it's not just me, it's everyone. The Matrix series seems a little more realistic in this case.